through Bhashini, DigiLogger, Common Services Center CSCs and Umang app, eMigrate project, an initiative of the
ご参加いただきまして、誠にありがとうございます。First, may I invite His Excellency, Mr. Shibi George, Ambassador of India to Japan, to make inaugural remarks. はじめに、駐日インド大使、シビ・ジョージ閣下より開会挨拶をいただきます。
Good afternoon, everybody. Shri Surendra Bhagat, Joint Secretary, Overseas Employments and Protectorate General of Immigrants, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, Mr. Hideyuki Aoki, Vice President and Country Head of Infosys Japan, Dr. Nina Pahuja, Executive Member, National Council for Vocational Education and Training, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, Mr. Kuriyama Akira from JICA, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by welcoming each one of you for today's event when we organize this Indian skilled workers in Japan opportunities and way forward, an event on Skill Connect. As you are aware, we have been doing skill related, human resources related engagement for the last more than year and a half with the view to generate more awareness both in India and Japan on the need to work together and synergize on our effort on the human resources front. I am very happy to see the progress we are making steadily at every stage. I cannot emphasize enough on the importance of strengthening cooperation in the area of skill development and creation of employment opportunities between India and Japan. Through various commitments between our governments, we have concurred to work together to boost the number of Indian skilled workers who could contribute to Japanese economy through various existing frameworks. In the last almost 2 years of my stay in Japan, I traveled all over this beautiful country. Everywhere I went, when I had meetings with the authorities, I heard one point, that we need to have more Indian human resources in Japan. Everyone realizes and recognizes the urgency of having more human resources from India to come and work in Japan. And I realized one thing. While our relationship is excellent, our political relationship, our business relationship, our people to people connect, our historical and civilizational connect is great, we have a number problem. The number problem first and foremost applies to there is not enough Indians in Japan. In my career abroad, in my career of more than 30 years, I lived in countries where there are huge number of Indians. You know, I was in Saudi Arabia where we have almost 4 million Indians working. I was in the US where we have almost 4 million Indians working. I was in the Gulf where there are 10 million Indians working. So this is the kind of, when I come and see here that there are only 40,000 Indians, I feel what happened? Japan is such a great country. Japan has so much of technological and industrial progress, and they need people, but why are not Indians here? This is something which was in my mind for several months, and I'm very happy that we are able to find some solutions. I recall the recent visit of His Excellency, the Speaker of the House of Representatives to India, when he went and met Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi, there was a good discussion on human resources. And I'm very happy that Honorable Speaker told the Prime Minister that we should be able to get at least 50,000, let me emphasize, at least 50,000 Indian workers to Japan in coming years. And I'm very happy that we are making, we are seeing what we can do in this regard. I am particularly happy that Mr. Hideyoki Aoki-san is here. He has, in fact, presented me with a very draft outline on how we plan to move ahead. So I'm very happy that this seminar is happening. I'm happy that people are showing more and more interest in engaging each other with the objective of developing the number of Indians in Japan. It also applies to the number of Indian students in Japan. At any given point of time, there are more than 1.5 million Indian students studying abroad. 1.5 million Indian students. And how many in Japan? 1,500. No. This is not acceptable. This is not sufficient. Japan again is one of the developed countries in the world. Huge opportunities. Why are not Indian students coming here? We need to get to the bottom of it and find a solution to this. So I'm very happy that we are now looking at these practical issues and trying to find solutions. I'm sure that we will be able to find ways and means to expand our engagement both at the Indian workers level and also at the Indian student level. As I said, let me repeat again, we have everything in place. Excellent political relationship, excellent security and defense relationship. People to people connect. Business is growing. As I can say that this is exactly the time to connect each other, and I'm very happy that we are doing it. So I would not like to speak much into this. I'm very happy that this seminar is taking place. We have lined up esteemed speakers and industry experts who will share their knowledge and experience on the theme Indian skilled workers in Japan, opportunities and way forward. In addition to the presentations of our speakers, we have a networking session afterwards for further collaboration. I encourage all the attendees to actively participate in networking sessions that follow. And I'm very happy also that Sri Surendra Bhagat, Joint Secretary, is spearheading the skill development program back in headquarters in India. I had the great pleasure of having working with him in Saudi Arabia. When I mentioned 4 million, he will for sure understand what I am talking about. So once again, I welcome each one of you. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to request Mr. Akira Kuriyama, Advisor for Technical Intern Training Program and Specified Skilled Worker, JICA, to make a presentation. 続きまして、JICA インド外国人材受け入れ送り出し推進アドバイザー、栗山明様よりご講演いただきます。
本日は貴重なお時間を賜り誠にあり
For the precious time given to me, I am from JICA. I'm here as an expert to talk about the Human Resource Exchange, and I'm currently working for NSDC. And so from next month, what was originally planned for 2 years, spent time in India, and we were able to have vocational training and also see how we can expand a sending of Indian skilled workers to Japan. And before the contract had started, I will not be able to give details. Therefore, please understand that what I'm going to share with you today is my personal view. Please move on to the next page. So the Japanese government for 2024 has a policy to tackle the aging society and the shrinking population. And the large pillar of Japan is to make use of foreign workers to see how we can have better symbiosis. in the society. And JICA also, to realize this, would like to assist in receiving overseas workforce. And also assisting the material, we would need to make sure that human rights are preserved and expertise and Japanese are present. And within JICA, we do have a division which will assist in that. And Vietnam, Indonesia, and Uzbekistan, we have experts dispatched. And now, for the first time, experts will be dispatched to India, and efforts will start next month. Page 4, please. Next one. As you know, in India is known to have a rich pool of resources. In the world of IT, there are advanced human resources, and every company is seeking out for that. And we have top companies and also top CEOs emerging from India, and also from Heidelberg University. From 10 years ago, there was an effort conducted, and we do see efforts coming out from it. And also, in the middle part of the pyramid, we believe and hope that there'll be more people sent from India to Japan. And I'll be working on this part and for vocational training. And through that, we hope that we'll be able to aggressively send out human resources so that Japan and India can first understand each other and be enlightened. Page 6. So when looking at India, we do know that this is the largest country dispatching immigrants, and many have been sent over to the Middle East and also to the Western world as well. On the other hand, within India, there aren't enough employment opportunities, and there's an issue of a large underemployment and unemployment of young generation people. And in the map, you see that many of the Indian migrants reside in the western part than India, so Middle East and the Western world. So this is the human exchange between India and Japan. We do see that for highly advanced specialists and also for students, we do see that the number is low compared to other countries. And especially for vocational training and skill training, it's very limited. Next page, please. So this chart shows the statistics for 2023 and 2024. The headcounts for TITP, SSW. You see that the Indian resource compared to Vietnam is about 1/100. So sorry, it's very hard to read this. But on the other hand, at the very top, if you look at Vietnam, the headcount, you can see that from 23 to 24, it's a negative 22%. So we do see that there has been a huge decline for Vietnam. So there's economic growth in Vietnam, which may be influential. So there are changes in from where these workforce come from. Next page, please. So India and Japan in 2017 has put together a memorandum for the TITP, and also we have for 2021 another memorandum set between the two nations as well. And as has been explained, the headcount is still small. In such circumstances, the skill NSDC has been trying to expand this, and there'll be a case for me to be sent over to as an expert to assist. And I'm very pleased that I have this opportunity to explain to you the situation here at the embassy. We hope that from India, I'll be able to provide information directly, and also from Japan, be able to receive inquiries from you and try to correspond to requests if you may have anything. We ask for your continued support. Can you show the mission material? And JITSCO, the International Cooperation Scheme, will next February plan to have a visit to India. And at the entrance, you'll find materials. So please take a sheet if you're interested. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Request Mr. Surinder Bhagat, Joint Secretary, OE and PG, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, to make a presentation virtually. 続きまして、インド外務省次官補海外雇用移民保護総局スリンデル・バガト様よりオンラインでご講演いただきます。
Thank you. Excellency, Mr. Sibi George, Ambassador of India to Japan, Mr. Kuriyama Akira, JICA expert, Mr. Hideyuki Aoki, Vice President, Country Head, Infosys, my colleague from Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. A very good afternoon to all of you from New Delhi. Minasan konnichiwa. I'm very happy to join in this presentation, event which our embassy in Tokyo has organized. I'm equally happy to see my former boss, Mr. Sibi George sir, in action in Tokyo. From our end here in New Delhi, sir, it will be our endeavor to ensure that we have more and more skilled workforce going to Japan. And I agree when you said that the number of Indians in Japan are not enough, not adequate. And given the kind of skilled manpower which we have in India, I think it will be a win-win situation if we can somehow help in bringing the skilled workpower to Japan through safe and secure channels, about which I am going to talk now, sir. I am Surinder Bhagat, and I am the Joint Secretary, Overseas Employment and Protector General of Immigrants. And one of the important tasks which I do here in New Delhi is to regulate and monitor the entire journey of immigrants when they are going abroad. And in my presentation, I will speak a bit about all of this. But before I start, I would also like to mention that the Government of India's approach towards promoting safe and legal mobility includes an endeavor to put in place a simple, efficient, effective, transparent, orderly, and legal process of immigration. Now, it envisions strengthening protection and welfare of immigrant workers and encouraging ethical recruitment practices. The provisions for ensuring all of this have been incorporated in a comprehensive legislation called the Immigration Act of 1983, which is the main body of law dealing with the migration-related issues of Indian citizens. So this act provides for the appointment of a Protector General of Immigrants, who is appointed by the central government and is entrusted with the responsibility of granting licenses to all the recruiting agents in India who are engaged in the business of recruitment of foreign employment, recruitment for foreign employment. The Office of Protector General of Immigrants is also assisted by the offices of Protector of Immigrants. These are the regional offices, and their geographical distribution you can see on your screens. as on date, there are 16 of these POEs, protectors of immigrants, spread across the country. And one of the main tasks of these protector of immigrants is to issue immigration clearances to all the prospective immigrants who intend to go abroad in certain notified countries. I will take a bit to talk about the ECR passport holders and ECR countries. In India, we have this immigration check required passport category of passport holders who are required to obtain prior clearance from the POE offices in case they intend to travel for employment purposes to any of these 18 countries as seen on the map. Most of these countries, as you can see, are concentrated in the Gulf area, about which Ambassador C.B. George sir had alluded to in his remarks earlier. And this is where majority of our Indian nationals are residing, and they are working from these countries. There are also countries in Southeast Asia where a large number of our workforce go for employment purposes. The numbers which we have obtained from our portal are mentioned at the bottom of the screen, and you can see majority of this outflow is in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Oman, etc. Now, India, as Ambassador mentioned, India and Japan share excellent relations almost on all levels. We have signed a memorandum of cooperation with Japan in January 2021 to promote mobility of skilled workers and professionals between the two countries. It also establishes a framework for information sharing and consultation to ensure the smooth sending and accepting of skilled workers. The MOC covers around 14 sectors, including electronics, industrial machinery, manufacturing, aviation, agriculture, etc. And this MOC is also basically aimed to help Japan overcome its labor-related shortages. And it is also a kind of a win-win situation because it also helps the Indian youth to gain employment abroad in friendly partner countries like Japan. There are benefits which I mentioned. It works for the benefit of both sides, and I don't see the need to elaborate on this. I think we all are aware of the kind of benefits which accrue out of these regions. This is some of the milestones which I think we have achieved in this journey of our skilled workers collaboration. We have a technical internship training program which started in 2017, and this is something which is a very popular one, and it's a kind of a template which we often mention in other meetings also. So we need to work more on this. In Japan, India Institutes for Manufacturing again is a very novel and very interesting idea. These institutes are tailor-made they're providing tailor-made customized skill set to those who intend to travel to Japan. Then we have Japanese endowed courses, and as on date, there are 5 such courses operational in Indian colleges. Now, coming to my job, as I mentioned, that my job as the Protector General of Immigrants is to enforce the Immigration Act. And how we do it here in New Delhi is through a portal which is called eMigrate portal. The version 2 of which was launched last week on October 14. In fact, this portal was launched in the same premises from where I am working. It's called Sushma Swaraj Bhavan. And to inaugurate this new version of eMigrate portal, we had the presence of 3 ministers, 2 senior cabinet ministers and 1 senior Minister of State for External Affairs. In fact, the presence of our External Affairs Minister and that of our Minister of Labour and Employment and Youth Affairs and Sports and MOS was again a very important and significant moment for all of us. It also in a way reflects the kind of seriousness which the government of India accords to this whole issue of mobility, and also about our efforts to ensure that the entire process is made hassle-free and transparent for our immigrants. I will talk about the features which are there in the eMigrate portal in a while. Now, just to give you a glimpse of what this portal does, and I will explain to you in detail, this portal is supposed to be a kind of a marketplace which provides end-to-end services to both our prospective immigrants and the foreign employers who are based in other countries. As you can see from the screen, as on date, we have 281,000 registered foreign employers on this portal. We have more than 2,200 active recruiting agents who are spread all across India. As on date, we have granted close to 4 million immigration clearances through this portal. And when I say 4 million, this portal was started operations in 2014 onwards. This portal also has a very robust grievance redressal mechanism. It has a multilingual helpline support which is available 24/7. And this, we believe, is a very strong, important portal. And we are also talking to some of the governments to integrate this with their similarly placed portals, which basically is related to employment and other related issues. Now, coming to the stakeholders in this portal, we have our recruiting agents, as I said, which operate from various parts of India, and they have access to the portal, eMigrate portal. Then we have the individual immigrants. They can also access our Indian missions, embassies, and consulates abroad also have access to this portal. Foreign employers also have been given user credentials. Then there are some external integrations about which I will talk in detail. All the external bodies which you see on the screen are basically government entities. This portal is also integrated with Passport Seva program, which means that on the click of a button, we can verify the credentials, passport-related credentials of any immigrant. Similarly, once we have granted immigration clearance to any immigrant, the information is transmitted to the Bureau of Immigration, so that once the immigrant lands at the airport, he will face no problem. The immigration officer will be aware of his all his papers, and the journey experience at the airport will be seamless and very, very smooth. Similarly, we have insurance agencies who are also integrated with our eMigrate portal. And whenever any immigrant wants to buy any insurance policy for himself or his families, he can do it from the portal itself. We have also integrated with the DG shipping, and I will talk about this common service centers in subsequent slides. We have entered into mobility partnership and other arrangements with a number of partner countries. The list is there on the screen. And what we envisage is that this eMigrate portal will play a critical role in bringing the major coordinating agencies like the mission, the foreign employers, etc., on this one single platform. So, from our perspective, this portal, this revamped portal will play a very important role in ensuring safe and legal mobility between the partner countries. And Japan, as you can see, is right there on the top. So I was talking about integrations which we have achieved, and I know that I have spoken about some of them, but here I will like to bring your attention to some of the important integrations which we have achieved over the course of last few months. One is DigiLocker, and this is also part of our overall public digital infrastructure. Now, what this DigiLocker does is that it allows the stakeholders to save securely their documents like immigration clearances, country-specific orders, registration license, and these documents, for all practical purposes, are deemed as original documents since they are uploaded on the portal after due authentication and due diligence. Similarly, we also are mindful of the fact that India is a diverse country. We have more than 400, 500 languages just spoken across the length and breadth of the country. And we also know that our immigrants come with different levels of educational backgrounds. So in order to help all these people, what we have done is that we have integrated the portal, eMigrate portal with a multilingual feature provided by Bhashini. Now, this Bhashini is a very interesting portal. This translates the contents of the portal in 12 regional languages, which is definitely going to benefit all the stakeholders who intend to avail of the immigration-related services from this portal. I mentioned about this Common Services Center, which is basically a SPV, the Special Purpose Vehicle of our Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. This, again, is a very interesting thing, because what CSC does is that CSC has close to 600,000 centers across India, and they are there right at the grassroots levels. They have centers in the villages, each and every village across India. So what we have done is that we have signed an MOU with the CSCs, and what we intend to do in the coming few days, weeks, or months is that we want to let these CSCs render our services by providing the immigration services to the end user at the grassroots level, so that people, while even in distant hinterland, can also get to know about what the eMigrate portal is doing for them, and how they can actually avail of these services while being there at the convenience of their own hometown and their villages. Please. Now, coming to what is new in this eMigrate portal, we have added a lot of interesting features in this portal. For instance, we are now going to come up with a digital registration certificate. In the past, what was happening is that all the recruiting agents used to have a physical copy of their certificate. Now, we will be doing away with this physical copy. We want only to grant digital licenses to all the recruiting agents. As I said, that we want this portal to be a marketplace. So what we intend to do is that we are promoting this posting of international job opportunities on the eMigrate portal itself. So all the foreign employees will be able to register themselves on the portal, and at the same time can also post their advertisements on the portal, and then allow people who intend to join these companies avail of these employment opportunities through safe channels. Along with the portal, we have also launched a mobile application. It's called eMigrate mobile application, which is available both on the Google Play Store as well as on the Government Play Store. Now, what it is aimed at further simplification of the immigration journey by making important immigrant-related services such as immigrant registration, tracking application status, searching of RAs or foreign employers, registration of grievances, etc., accessible through mobile apps. Again, this, as I mentioned, this is a multilingual portal. We have also introduced this QR-enabled documents, so that anybody sitting anywhere can authenticate all the documents which are generated through this portal and can verify their authenticity. Similarly, we have also introduced the business profiles of all the recruiting agents, so that anybody who is availing of the services is aware of the background of all the recruiting agents across the country. Now, how does this ensure the welfare of immigrants? This is again something which, to my mind, is very interesting, because the portal is offering authentic information about the jobs which are posted, and we have seen of late that a number of online jobs are posted on social media, and most of them, not most, but a lot of them have been found to be fake jobs, which lands are people in trouble. This is a phenomenon across the board, and we are in touch with the major social media intermediaries, including Meta, Google, YouTube. We want all these contents to be taken away from these sources. So all the information which you get from eMigrate will be authentic. The foreign employers, since they will be vetted by the embassies and the consulates abroad, so in a way we will know about the background of foreign employer. We know that they will be safe. We have robust grievance redressal mechanism through the Pravasi Bharatiya Sahayata Kendra. This is a 24/7 helpline which is running multilingual, multi-languages. Anybody, either immigrant himself or his acquaintance, relatives, friends, can lodge a complaint or grievance on this center through emails or through calls. We also, what we do is that we advertise, we post all the fraud alerts about fake advertisements which are there on our portal, which is there on the homepage itself, so that people will come to know about them on real-time basis. Important contact details of our Protector of Immigrants offices is there. We also have this pre-departure orientation training. I hope my colleague from the Ministry of Skill Development will talk about it. The portal also contains this manual on pre-departure orientation training, where basically what it does is it imparts basic knowledge about the country where the immigrant is intending to immigrate. Basic knowledge is in terms of social, cultural sensitivities, basic communication skills, and other important things which will be of interest to the immigrant. Similarly, there are insurance schemes which are there on the portal, which helps not only the immigrant but also provides coverage to his family members back in India. So, in conclusion, I will once again request all our Japanese friends to please do access the eMigrate portal. It is the flagship portal which is operated by this OE and PGE division, and I will be more than happy to answer your questions if you have towards the end of the session. Thank you. I thank the Indian Embassy once again for providing me this opportunity. Thank you, and domo arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Next, may I request Mr. Hideyuki Aoki, Vice President, Country Head, Next Infosys, to make a presentation.
May I request Mr. Hideyuki Aoki, Vice President, Country
日本代表青木秀幸様よりご講演をいただきます。
インフォシスの青木でございます。最初に本日はこのような機会をいただき、シビジョージ大使閣はじめ、インド大使館の皆様、感謝申し上げます。ありがとうございます。私、インフォシスというインドの IT の企業の日本の代表をしておりますが、その代表としての、ミッション、日本のインフォシスのビジネスのバスというミッションも超えてですね、本日は、日本とインドの
The former Nikaga, ex-Speaker of the House of Representatives, had held a meeting, and Mr. Nikaga back then talked about a exchange program of 50,000 people. And I'd like to share about that as well. Now, first of all, I would like to talk about the profile of Infosys and myself. Infosys in 1981 was established in Pune in India with 7 engineers. So now currently there's more than 350,000 people, so it's a giant IT company at the moment and one of the top 3 in the world. And in Japan, it was in 1997 that we started business, and we have about 1,000 people involved in the operation in Japan. So that's the scale we work in. And I myself has been in the IT business for 35 years. And in 2001, Wipro, as in premises owner, had asked me to come to Wipro Japan. And after that, I went to NTT Data, Deloitte, Thomas Consulting, but I always worked with the IMPRO members, and TCS Japan, and now after that, Infosys Japan. So for 2001, I'm working together with my Indian colleagues, and Wipro in 2001, it was about 500 million company, but now it's more than 2 trillion yen revenue company. And we currently have 250,000 employees, which started with 15,000. And I'm seeing the growth myself. And unfortunately, the growth was not able to incorporate that into Japan. So that's why in the IT business, there has been some being behind in Japan. So I hope and believe that we need to recover for that. Next, please. Now, the Japanese IT market will be explained. And as I have mentioned, in Japan, this is from MITI. So in 2030, maximum of 790,000 people of IT resources will be in shortage. And that is what is being said. And I think it's quite serious considering the situation. And the reason for this is quite simple. So in Japan, the population of Japan is shrinking. That's one thing. So ultimately, the IT resource will also be shrinking as well in accordance. The population issue cannot be resolved so easily, but even if we cope with that, it probably will not show an impact till 20 years, 30 years ahead. But we have a big issue of how to handle all this. And against that, result-wise, there are numerous IT projects which are lingering. And at the left, sorry, it's in Japanese, but it talks about the shortage of IT engineers. And it's in the worst situation. And that's from Yomiuri newspaper article, Nikkei Computer article. And at the right, government cloud. Up to 2025, the local governments of Japan, probably we actually have 1,700 of these local governments. So up to March of 2026, we have this big project of bringing everything to the cloud, but probably won't be able to have at least 30% not making it. So some have given up. The reason for that is because of lack of resources. So there are different things about 1,700 systems trying to bring it out to the cloud. You would and can imagine how many cloud engineers you would need. And in Japan, we don't have so many cloud engineers. There's no way that we can do that. And as a result, we found out that 30% has given up. And now you see the article saying that it's probably not possible. So it says that that notification was sent out to 300 local governments, and that number may go up. Next, please. So from that, so this is the World Digital Competitiveness Ranking. So we have been in the upper ranks before in Japan, but you see that's going down. And last year we were number 32. That's how low we are in digital competitive ranking. So what is Japan trying to do to resolve this issue? So there was this project. In June of 2022, the Japanese government had decided to come up with a project to have 2.3 million digital resource born out of this project. But this was to reskill the Japanese to get this number in place. But you can consider that we had problem of population shrinking, and you don't have people to reskill. If you had that enough people to reskill, you would have no problem. And we have this problem of a lack of resources. And now having this kind of resource of 2.3 million is a paradox. There's no way, because we don't have that kind of resource to start off with to reskill. At least that's my view. And as a result, this 2.3 million by March of 2023, 27 tried to have this number of reskilled workers, 2.3 million was the target. And as a result, things aren't going smoothly. That's where we are. Next. Next, please. So, as has been mentioned, this is ex-Speaker Nukaga. He visited India and met with Prime Minister Modi. And this is a photograph. And I'm in this as well. I attended this meeting. And now that's where we had this discussion on having a 50,000 resource exchange program between India and Japan. So I think it is quite innovative because, number one, there has been agreements between the Japanese government and Indian government about Shinkansen and building plants. That was more on the infrastructure, cooperation on the infrastructure part. So that's where the proposals from Japan came from, the infrastructure. But for the first time, I guess, it was on human exchange, resource exchange. A proposal made from Japan to India. I think that's quite epoch-making. And another thing is that this specific number of 50,000, well, it's actually more than 50,000. And I was saying 500,000, but the number went down, and ultimately, the ultimate number had dropped to 50,000. But this would be the minimum. This is absolutely what we need to do as the Japanese government, because the ex-speaker of the House of Representatives had committed to this. So this is something absolutely required for us to do. So I'll talk about this verbally. There are a couple of issues, actually. And now Prime Minister Modi maybe at the end of the year and next year, by the time he comes to Japan, the Japanese government will need to prepare a draft and have a budget in place, a certain amount of money, a large fund or money, and would need to be executed. So when looking at the past approach of the Japanese government, now they would spend money on scholarship, for example, and now we have more people studying Japanese language. And would that be human resource exchange? No, they need to come to Japan and work for a certain company. That's the uh, type of resources that we have. After scholarship, how we can have them employed to a Japanese company. That's the flow. That's not in place yet. So that's a certain supply chain that is required. So we would need to resolve that issue. We may have the budget, but it will be at a result difficult to achieve this figure 50,000 unless we had that uh, supply chain in place, so to speak. And another issue is that the Japanese companies, they're not that proactive or aggressive in hiring overseas workers, non-Japanese workers. So we have a lack of resources in Japanese companies and Japanese economy as stagnating. And despite of that, to replenish that shortage, it's apparent that we can't manage with Japanese alone. So that would mean that we would need to depend on overseas workers. And so, considering the geopolitical risk, I think India, considering IT resources, it will be India that we could work with. And I think Mr. Nukaga had the same view. So now we have this proposal of 50,000 resource exchange from Japan. So we would need to be committed to achieve this. And by achieving this, we can bring it up to double and triple and have competent people sent over to Japan. So everyone wants skilled IT engineers, and we hope that we can have a scheme where we can have those workers sent so that we can have something attractive, provided we need to have that kind of situation in place. So for close to 25 years, I've been working with Indian IT colleagues. So based on that experience, I would like to first succeed with this figure of 50,000 and do whatever is necessary. So I'm sure that we can have a dialogue, and we hope that we can get your wisdom as well. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
development or for learning and skilling people in different areas. So all these different technologies that I've just listed here, the 10 technologies I've listed here, are actually are affecting the other skills, whether they talk about healthcare or manufacturing or automotive. So what we're trying to do is to work on cross-sectoral skilling and capacity building, which you'll get from India. I've mentioned, I have some specific slides on specific other skills. Green is one area which is picking up in a very, very large way in India. We have a special program started by Prime Minister on solar planning. So we are trying to go as green as possible with solar plant installation. And there are a lot of skilling programs which have been created for solar plant installation and maintenance. Electric vehicles is something which we've started using extensively. So we have a lot of skilling which is happening for electric vehicle technicians and maintenance. Waste is a huge area, and we're trying to train people for different kind of waste management. And so whether it could be a hospital waste, or it could be a rubber waste, or it could be a different kind of a waste. There are people who've been trained on those areas as to how do you do waste management. Then there are people, there are specific courses been designed for sustainable building manager. And of course, not to forget the green hydrogen mission, which has been initiated in India. So we are trying to do skilling for a green hydrogen plant installation, its storage, transportation, and even filling station, so that we can actually have green hydrogen-based vehicles in a large way. It's still early stage, but I think that's one area which is picking up. And I'm hoping that we'll have a large number of green skilled people in our country over a period of time, which also can be transported to Japan if required be. Automotive is another major area, although we started experiencing something really different when Maruti came to India, and we're very thankful to Japan for it. So from there, I think a large number of other auto companies have come in, but we have trained here a large number of people who actually work not only on automobile design now, assembly, and even servicing. It could be normal vehicle or even electronic vehicles. Repair and maintenance of automobile goes certainly hand in hand. Electric charging infrastructure, which is coming in a very big way, and there are a large number of people getting trained. Dealership, sales, etc. That's another area. But we're also trying to train our auto sector team on cross-sectoral area and trying to give them technology training as to how things like sensors can help in auto industry, or how can we can use technology for kind of analysis which can happen in auto industry, or 3D can help in speeding up the design of auto industry. So we are able to create people who are working on these newer areas also of design. There are a large number of people who are also getting trained on using artificial intelligence for optimization of supply chain. So there are products that have been created and applications which have been created, which people are getting trained on. Agriculture, I think, is something which is required almost in every country. We still in early stages, but we've done a lot on vertical farming, which is coming up. So we are training a large number of people in vertical farming, then trying to create agri-business managers out of it. There are specific trainings which are happening on aquaculture also to ensure that we have clear and good aquaculture built in everywhere. Fruit growing and food processing is another major area, which also is complemented with categorization of the fruits that are grown or the food that's processed. All this is also checked for quality while, and there are norms that have been checked for the food processing quality also. Organic farming has picked up in a very, very big way in India. And we're trying to create more and more organic farming specialists. We've started using drones for agriculture, and this is another very big scheme which has been started by Prime Minister of India for drones, where we're trying to use drones which can support relay of looking for weeds or putting medicines, pesticides, etc. So that's another very big that's been started, and we do have people who are trained on flying or making sure how drones can be used for agriculture in India. Cold chain management, of course, is very important just to ensure that there is minimal wastage, which also is another area which we've taken up for skilling in the agriculture sector. I just heard the earlier presentations, which I think it was spoken that there is massive need of people in healthcare and supporting persons for elder care also. So that's one area where I think a large amount of work is happening in India, starting from Ayurvedic therapist to clinical research, pharmacy manager, going on to nurse managers or emergency care assistant, or even duty assistant. We are trying to create a large pool of healthcare because we also feel that India is hopefully going to be the healthcare capital. We'll be able to support healthcare for a large number of people across the world in India. So there's a massive initiative of training healthcare professionals in India who can be used for India and for international markets. And they are normally even prepared with the typical international rules because every international rule may be different for some of these areas. We've recently taken a massive step on creating medical devices, early stages, but we do have people working on different parts of medical devices where we're trying to create people who could work on regulatory affairs, compliance affairs, also work on quality of the medicines which come out of our manufacturing plants for medicines. So different kind of engineers. We're also training people on how to do clinical research. Those are also some of the things that are happening, but I think quality is one major thing, sterilization, technician, etc. So these are some new areas that we've all ventured into. Early stages, we've got some people trained, but yes, the work has started to be able to train that. I'm sure that's another area you may be interested in. With all this, what we're trying to do is, and the other areas, I did mention around 60 plus areas in the beginning. I've not got slides for all those areas, but we do have people working in different areas and different skills created in all those areas. But together with that, we're also working on something called employability skills, where employability skills really talk about how to make a person employable. So it is not only the skill that is required, which is of type say technology or other skills that are required, but it's also soft skills which are required for the person to be able to succeed in the market. It could be communication skills, it could be problem solving skills or other skills. So we've actually also worked on 9 categories of employability, life or soft skills, which starts from basic skills like digital fluency, communication skills, interpersonal skills, cognitive skills, citizen and constitution values we want everybody to be aware of. And again, English and foreign literacy skills. We not yet covered Japanese skills, but our NSDC already has some program on Japanese language skills. And we also have workplace and job-related skills which are coming in. And not to forget the basic foundation and also entrepreneurial skills. So these are some employability skills also that we've created, just to make sure that any person who gets skilled in our area actually is able to really prosper and also find the next career path, because all these are also typical skills which are required for him to proceed further. We have created a large pool of future skills. So I did mention about 3D printing, etc. So for 3D, we've got 11 plus skills, 5G, 6G, which is the technology to be in 5G. We've got 12 different skill sets happening for 5G. Automotive, there are almost EV 64 plus skills. A lot of work happening on IoT area and a lot of skill sets which have been created is almost 32 plus IoT qualifications which have been created. Automation and robotic process automation, 30 plus skills. Cloud, as was mentioned, there are 17 different qualifications we already have for cloud computing. We're trying to work on electronic design also, where there are a lot of skills. We did mention about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analytics. Cybersecurity, which has to go in today for every technology skill, is there are 21 such skills. Here we are, like I said, 12 such qualifications already available. Mechatronics, yes, is required, and that's the way world is going to go on. And there are 5 skills already available. CAD/CAM, VLSI, health tech, drone, green hydrogen, blockchain, and sustainable agriculture, biotechnology. So, we have as many skills as I've just mentioned, given you idea. These are some future skills. Otherwise, we have around 4,000 plus skills, which are generic skills also, which are available for our team, which we are trying to do. We'll be happy to hear from anyone who's interested in specific trained people in Japan in any of these skills. And we can organize that, NSDC can work on it, and we can actually have a plan in terms of how do we have those persons being available for Japan. Thank you so much. I thought I'll just take this much, which is a basic introduction to what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We would like to have Q&A session. If you have any questions, please let us know. もしご質問がございましたら、挙手にてお知らせください。ございませんでしたら、if there's no question, we would like to request you to ask speakers directly after this event during the networking session. もしご質問ある方は、この後ネットワーキングセッションがございますので、その際に登壇者の方に直接お聞きいただけましたら幸いです。We will now conclude the event on India-Japan Skill Connect, Indian Skilled Workers in Japan, Opportunities and Way Forward today. 以上をもちまして、本日のイベント、日印スキルコネクト、日本におけるインド人熟練労働者、機会と前進への道を終了とさせていただきます。Thank you very much for your participation today. 本日はご参加いただきまして誠にありがとうございました。We will have a networking session with Please join us. この後ネットワーキングセッションがございますので、軽食もついております。皆様ぜひご参加くださいませ。同時通訳レシーバーをお使いになった方は受付までご返却